Hi, thanks very much for clicking on the video link. This is an idle chat. It's one of many in a series of videos for the American Bar Association section for dispute resolution. My name is Natalie, but more importantly, this is Brian. Brian, welcome to an idle chat.
Well, Natalie, thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
It's my pleasure. Brian, first question. Have you ever had an opportunity to meet a musician whose music you loved or as a person that you really admired them?
Personally, no.
No?
Although to satisfy my hunger for musical art, I just came back from Sacramento, California, where I got to see Bob Dylan.
Wow, one of the great icons.
Well, in my opinion, the great icon.
Wow. All right, that's impressive. And you didn't get an autograph? Didn't get to meet him?
Now, I would expect Bob Dylan would probably rather punch me in the mouth than give me an autograph. I get a little past autographs. He appeared on stage wearing a hoodie and what looked like a beekeeper's hood, so you could barely see him.
Okay, I suppose though if you're at that level of legacy, you can wear anything you want.
That is exactly what I think.
All right. Brian, as you've traveled around, you said you just went to Sacramento, and so you're a guy that gets around. Um, can you recall any sort of really memorable, fantastic, over the top, weird, silly meal that you've consumed while you're traveling?
No, because I'm like a meat and potatoes person. I can tell you in all candor that in my adult life, I have never voluntarily eaten a vegetable. I'm not a user.
Wait, you said meat and potatoes. Potatoes a vegetable.
Whatever. I guess. I thought there was some kind of tuber.
Is a tuber not a vegetable? Now I don't know. I'll have to go look it up.
I don't know either. Anyway, if it's green and crunchy or green and mushy, I won't eat it.
Fair enough. You're not a rabbit. I get it. I get it. Brian, are you a motorhead, a gearhead? Do you like cars?
Well, being originally from Detroit, I sort of have a genetic predisposition to worship cars. I appreciate good cars. I like to drive my Mercedes. Um, I'm really happy not to be driving a lot of the junk that I used to drive when I was an unemployed undergraduate. But
What
I'm
was your
not one of these motorheads like, I'm from Detroit, right? So when I hear Motorhead, I'm talking about someone who can tell you that's a six-cylinder short block that was made at this plant in Cleveland, Ohio, between this year and that year. So when you talk to somebody from Detroit about being a motorhead, they're like a PhD in motors. And I'm not that interested. I just
not
like the car to start when I turn well, I used to turn the key. Now I just have to punch a button. And I like it to go really fast once it starts.
those are fair specifications. What was your first car?
My first car was the worst automobile ever built. It was a 1955 DeSoto Fire Dome. It did have the advantage of being so large. I mean, this car was freaking huge. You could put four adults in the back seat and they would be comfortable. This was an
Those
enormous automobile.
they were huge. It was like sitting on a sofa in the back seat.
The front seat much the same way. It was a weird car. It had a 6-volt system instead of a 12-volt system. The electrical system almost never worked. And instead of having a gear shift, it had a weird little lever on the dashboard that you raised up and down, which I think is probably the only car ever to feature such a thing. But it did have a mother of pearl handle.
Bougie.
Yeah, very.
All right. Um, so what's your dream car?
Right now, anyone that's paid for.
Amen, brother. Brian, excuse me. What is something that you wish more people understood about mediation?
Um, People by way of clients or people by way of lawyers?
By both, actually. Would you mind answering both?
Uh, with clients, you tell them you have to go to mediation. See, I'm a trial guy, so mediation is not my first choice. I just assume you get in the ring, you try the case, and that's that. All right, so anyway, mediation's supposed to be quicker, right? And you avoid the appeal process. So I guess I would like clients to understand that mediation is not giving in. And then you have to go through the whole process. All right, we could go to trial. We can win the trial. Court of Appeals, at least in Michigan, when I was, and it's longer here in New Mexico, was probably 3 years out. So you get a judgment and you go through the appeal process, and it's 3 years later. And by the time the appeal process is over, your client can barely remember your name and you can barely remember what they look like. So, there was the advantage of if you can get a resolution, then, obviously it's quicker. Now, in terms of attorneys and mediation, um, my only problem with mediation in general is that some cases you have a really bad actor, right? You have somebody that deserves to get severed at the head because their client has been so outrageous that there's no way you should start to seek a compromise. So I guess I've always felt that mediation from an attorney's point of view, if you have a client that's a real piece of something, you can still get them something because you don't go to mediation, come out with zero. That never happens. So mediations in money cases sometimes reward some really bad characters. I have represented people who use mediation to get discounts. They sign contracts, refuse to pay. You say, dude, the guy did what he was supposed to do. Why don't you pay him? So now I'll get a better deal if we go to court and then we go to settlement conference or mediation and I'll get a discount. So that's a way of life. And it's a way of life for a lot of lawyers out there who are representing a lot of clients with that same point of view. And it's irritating, to say the least.
Totally agree. Are you a fan of film? You like movies?
Um, I guess I like older movies than I like newer movies. I'm not a Star Wars, Marvel comic sort of person.
Okay. So, in your awareness, your knowledge of the older movies, what's a movie that, in your opinion, just doesn't get enough love? What movie should I search and find?
Well, I guess I'll just give you my favorite movie of all time was Doctor Strangelove.
Okay. Tell me more.
I just thought it was a hilarious movie. It's still a hilarious movie, and unbelievably, I think I saw it the first time when it came out, which is in the 60s. And someone asked me about movies recently. So I said, you should watch Doctor Strangelove. So she did. And she said, it's sort of weird, but it has a message that still sort of resonates today, which is hard to do.
What's the message?
That the world is run by assholes who will probably blow us all up with atomic weapons.
I don't watch what do they call it? Uh, real TV. It's not what do they call it? The TV programs that are, in the real life of or whatever.
Oh, reality TV?
There you go. Reality TV. That's the word I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, well, I don't know
Reality is interesting.
why anyone would watch that. I try to write reality books, and it's interesting that we've been taught that reality books are not really books. They're very unpopular.
Okay. Tell me about the books that you write.
Well, my books are basically about the law business and the everyday nuts and bolts of law business. And over 46 years, I've had a fair number of colorful characters. But, the book today, books that win awards, books that get in Barnes and Noble, books that are rewarded by publishers are all happy ending books. You have to have a character arc. You have to have a sort of a boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, sort of a redemptive feature. My books lack a redemptive feature. They're reality-based books where bad guys often win and bad guys are seldom punished.
Reality. And what's the name of the series?
Well, it's called the Grimsby series. Right now, there's three books. Um, the first one is Grimsby, Beauty and the Legal Beast. The second one is Grimsby, Healing the Body Politic. And I can't remember the name of the third one. Oh, the third one is Grimsby, Shots at the Bar.
Shots at the Bar. All right then. Brian, do you have a green thumb or
Yes.
like, oh, what do you grow?
Well, in New Mexico, I don't grow too much because you have to have a lot of water. But my wife will tell you that I can make anything grow. I think it's I inherited that from my Hungarian grandmother, who could literally, well, she was a farmer and she could grow anything anywhere. Somehow, whatever genetic factors involved with that, I inherited. Although I do find it hard to grow weed in New Mexico.
Well, you do better than I do. I just have like this graveyard of houseplants. That's not my métier.
I don't know. I have lots of those.
Oh, well, they're lucky to have you. Brian, did you play any sports when you were growing up?
I love playing baseball. That was like the single joy of my childhood was playing baseball.
Okay, what position did you play?
Um, Started out in center field, and then when I grew tall enough so you could actually see me, then I moved to first base.
First base. Way to go. All
I
right.
really enjoyed that. It was a real highlight. Some of my saddest memories are days when I was a kid and I'd wake up in Michigan and it would be sunny out, and being in Michigan, thunder shower would start up and my baseball game would get rained out. And I basically took that personally and thrust my fist at whoever's in charge of rain. Most people, I guess, call that God.
No, it's brutal when you're a kid and you have such an emotional connection to something like that, and it gets adios, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's still a sore spot today. That's 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Uh, Brian, Mr. James,
No, don't call me that. That's my dad.
Brian,
Thank you.
what is a snack from your childhood that brings you the fondest memories?
Um, my grandmother's Hungarian walnut crescents, which is a bunch of walnut goo wrapped around some pastry, and they were sprinkled with powdered sugar, and I could literally eat my weight in them. And would
Sounds,
today with somebody around to make them.
well, you'll have to learn how.
My wife knows how, and my primary care physician would rather she make less, but I would rather she made more.
life is about balances. Maybe have one or two, not your entire body weight.
Well, that has been suggested.
You know, Safrosine. It works. All right, Brian. When we're talking about mediating cases or facilitating communication or helping people find a durable, reasonable resolution to an issue or a dispute, what's one of the things about neutral work that you find most inspiring or most motivational?
Well, I think it's most motivational is if you get the sense that the neutral understands what you want and probably more importantly, why you want it. To meet your client's need, to bandage your client's wound, whatever, as opposed to um, just hanging a number on everything and going back and forth all day bandying about numbers.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Brian James, thank you so much for joining me for an idle chat. If
Can
somebody
I add
wanted
one
to,
thing about neutrals?
of course you can. It's your idle chat.
Uh, if you want to know what drives me crazy about neutrals is that the damn mediations always last all day, no matter what. It's like going to meetings. They all last an hour. Whether the meeting subject should be 7 minutes or 3 days, the meeting lasts an hour. So I don't know. Well, the mediators, I guess, are typically paid by the hour. Why we have to sit from 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock and start getting to the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about at 4:30, I guess I leave to the neutrals to explain. But there's certainly something magic about that seventh or eighth hour of mediation that brings things to a close.
Wrapped up. All right. Brian, if somebody wanted to reach out to you about your books or the services that you offer, what's the best way for someone to find you?
Best way for someone to find me is by what I'm most interested in, and that's selling my books. And they can find those at grimsbyseries.com. GRIMSBY series, one word, .com.
Perfect. Brian, thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
It was really fun for me to have you in an idle chat today.
Well, I enjoyed myself, and you need anything else, any more inane stuff, you know where to find me. I'm a fountain of it.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye.